So 5 months ago, I first arrived in the Netherlands, and the first thing that hit me, how unpredictable the weather is. 1 minute it's raining, then it's windy, then it's snowing, and on top of that, it gets dark really early. But that's another topic. We can talk about that next time. Today, I'm gonna just focus on the weather. I've been to a lot of different countries, but the weather here is genuinely the first of its kind I've ever experienced. Just 2 weeks ago, I biked to a place about 4 kilometers away. I took my time, rode slowly. The whole trip was about 20 to 30 minutes, and in those 30 minutes, I went through 7 different kinds of weather. Bright sun like now, heavy rain, sudden hail, sun again, strong wind, rain again, and I'm not exaggerating. This literally happened. Okay, so I went and did some digging, and now I can actually explain why Dutch weather is like this. First of all, the Netherlands is an extremely low-lying country. The country's name, Netherlands, literally means lowland. About 26% of the country sits below sea level. And the highest point of the entire country, located right where Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands meet, is only 322 meters. And bear with me here, these Dutch names are genuinely hard to pronounce for me. It's called Valsenburg, so the whole country has no mountains, no hills, no real elevation changes at all. Now think about it. If the wind comes in, what's going to stop it? Nothing. Second, zoom out a bit. Look at Europe as a whole. To the west of the Netherlands is the wide open North Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. And to the east, all the way into northwestern Germany, you've got the North German plain, which is also basically flat. The nearest real mountain range, the Alps, is 700 kilometers away, which means essentially no influence on Dutch weather. So unlike Switzerland, Austria, or Spain, countries with mountains, that squeeze the moisture out of the air before it can reach to the other side. The Netherlands has none of that filtering. So wind coming all the way from the Atlantic sweeps across the country completely unobstructed. The clouds up there move at around 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. A single cloud might only take 5 minutes to pass over your head. And honestly, I've noticed that here in the Netherlands, the clouds move way faster than anything I saw in China or any other country. Third, the Netherlands sit right next to 2 very unusual bodies of water. To the west and north is the North Sea, itself a shallow sea with an average depth of around 90 meters. But the southern part of the North Sea, the section right next to the Netherlands, is only 10 to 30 meters deep. And on top of that, on the northern side of the Netherlands, there's another even smaller, even shallower sea called the Wadden Sea. What's special about this one is that the water is usually only a few meters deep. And when the tide goes out, about half of it gets completely exposed and turns into mudflats. Now, here's the thing about really shallow water like this. Because there's so little water there compared to the surface area, it heats up and cools down much faster than the deep sea would. So the temperature contrast between the sea and the land gets quite extreme. And that contrast is the engine that drives local convection, you know. When cold air passes over a relatively warm sea surface, it gets heated up quickly, soaks up moisture, and explosively forms isolated cumulonimbus clouds, which means the air I see coming from the Atlantic, those clouds have already been processed by those 2 shallow seas, fully loaded with moisture before they even reach me. So by the time I see them, the show's already half over. And fourth, this is a big one, a global scale atmospheric pattern. The Netherlands sits at around 53 degrees north latitude, which puts it right inside the Earth's prevailing westerlies belt. Between 30 and 60 degrees north, the wind blows from the west to east year-round. This is a global phenomenon driven by the Earth's rotation and the temperature difference between the equator and the poles. So, actually, it has nothing to do with the Netherlands specifically, which means this isn't really a Dutch weather feature. It's a planetary default. And along with the wind belt, the Atlantic generates a low pressure system every few days, one after another, marching across the Netherlands. So I really do feel like the weather here arrives in waves, because it literally does. Put all four of these things together, and Dutch weather suddenly makes completely sense. Wester lies from the Atlantic, picking up moisture across two shallow seas, slamming into a country with nothing to slow them down. The clouds shoot across at a close to 50 kilometers per hour, and each one only sits over my head for a few minutes. That's why an experience like mine, 7 kinds of weather in 30 minutes, I'd honestly never had in any other country. But it's actually the inevitable result of all 4 of these things happening at the same time. Alright, that's a bit I found genuinely fascinating, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.